This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts. Welcome to Body Count, a history podcast.
And welcome to Body Count, the podcast where we believe history doesn't repeat itself. It rhymes, and a proud member of the Big Heads Podcast and Network. We're here to show you don't hate history. Well, you just hate the way it was taught to you. So only rule when we choose a topic here, someone, or as usually the case, a lot of someone's died. We give you this series of events in a narrative fashion, and by the end, correlate said story with current events. I say we because I'm definitely not PBS, Ken Burns, Dan Carlin. So if you want that Hoover-esque quote, just the facts, ma'am, end quote. Yeah, I did that. History podcast, we are not going to be for you. So just FYI, there's going to be analysis, definitely some opinions. And so this is not a lecture. So the opinions that are out are our own. Know that I am held verbally hostage by our wonderful host. We'll get to her later. So direct all of your hate at her where it intentionally belongs, which I absolutely love, being like, oh my God, Jessica. Hey, I take it. I love it. I'm here for it. So we're not actively, of course, trying to offend anyone, but it is said that tragedy plus time equals comedy. So, of course, we're going to giggle and laugh at some pretty rough subject matter. So just FYI, you've been warned. So everybody obviously can tell I am not the host. I am the co-host, Bethany Skelton, and I am joined, of course, by the lovely, the talented, the almighty,
the host herself, Miss Jessica Banner.
Yes, I crushed it. You're welcome. Intro to you and go.
Oh, you crushed the F out of it. I'm not going to lie, because I get so tired of reading it week to week that, guys, I just don't have any love for it anymore. So it's a chore to me. So we thought, hey, we'll switch it up because Bethany has a love for it. So Bethany does a great job.
I also offered. I was like, hey, you did so much work today. Do you want me to do the intro that you've already typed up? But I'm going to put my twist on it.
Hey, it's our standard intro. We don't change it. As always. And we don't change this either. We've got a lot to get to. Housekeeping. We are part of the Big Heads Podcast Network, a great collection of podcasts. We are super excited to be included, so please go and check them out on social media, everyone. If you love this show, please go give us those 5 stars on iTunes or wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. Yes. Say whatever the hell you want about us.
At least it's nice.
Make us feel good. You know, nice. No, you can call me a straight up douchebag. Not going to hurt my feelings as long as you're giving us those 5 stars. But we do have to say everything that you guys give us are just shining and wonderful. And we do appreciate it so much because it helps us out on the business end. We can't tell you enough how it does that. To that note, we're going to be getting our Patreon back up and running post-hiatus, as we've said, and we'll continue to say, as soon as we get spare time to breathe, which we have yet to do, trying to keep up with a weekly podcast because we're idiots that did not say bi-weekly. It is what it is. We're under contract. Well, we got to put this shit out week by week. Sorry. Swear.
Curse. It's not just that, Jessica. It would be different if our lives were different. Yeah, we'll go with that one. It's a matter of the whole aspect. Like, I could hone in if I could. You could do certain things. if you could. So it's just a matter of trying to find the balance, and we're making it work. And I'm so happy we've done it actually now for over a year.
Yes, despite a 3-month hiatus. And yet you
know.
all still come here and listen. So we're incredibly thankful.
And
but what we hope to do with Patreon is get some bonus episodes, interviews, and just some fun, weird little body counts. We're going to keep you updated when it happens via social media. So again, be sure to follow us on social media. We're still taking our brief Romanov break, and we are definitely still working our way through our series with Dr. Warren. Doctor Squared, as we all know. He's admittedly, he's kind of again,
big hashtag.
He's the hashtag big deal. What can we say? It's a very big and a very real day job, and we have to work around his schedule. Therefore, we're kind of at a bit of a stalemate trying to finish everything up with Warren. And then we hope to move on to Nancy Wake with French History Podcast.
I know nothing about that. I'm so
It's going to be super exciting.
And I don't have time to research it or do any sort of Google search. So I'm just going to be pleasantly surprised. I hope you're
very much going to be, because it's very much going to be interesting.
Is it you and French History Podcast, or am I invited?
No, it's going to be all of us, which is
okay, cool.
Going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Please let them know. I will do no such research in advance. Sorry, not sorry.
Oh, they're aware.
Okay,
they're
good.
Aware. Gary's aware.
Hey, I'm here to learn. Fuckers, teach me.
Curse.
Oh, sorry. I mean that in a loving, passionate way. Very passionate way.
Very passionate, very loving. So this one's going to be a lot like our George Mallory episode. We're not sure how much practical application we're going to put into this episode. And that is generally what we try to do, tell you guys why the history we talk about matters. But I don't necessarily believe that's true, because by the end of this one, I feel like it's going to be so glaringly obvious what the practical application is that we don't really have to go into it, and we really don't have to say it.
Like, hello, it's right there in front of your face.
It very much is going to be. So in a recent theme, we're trying to bring some little-known facts, little-known stories, maybe some funny or kind of uplifting ones concerning some of the biggest body counts of all time. Essentially, a little joy out of some really depressing body counts that we will eventually cover, specifically those of the 20th century.
Sure.
But just we don't have the heart or the time to get into it quite yet. So today,
on my
brain power. We're brain dead at this point.
I can only go so far with you, Jessica. Okay? I can only take some.
Oh, but a weekly podcast was just bad idea. Bi-weekly.
No. Your deep dive on the Romanovs, that was a bad idea. You thought, oh, hey, this is simple for me.
That one really killed me, and I'm sorry, and I apologize, guys. I still haven't recovered. I really still haven't recovered.
I didn't get it. I can blame the first part, the early Romanovs. Listen to the whole thing, because if you're like me and
all 10 freaking parts,
I'm so confused.
And we still have Peter the Great.
We're not even done. Okay, sorry.
We're not even done. We are in the middle of another interview series because my sanity was at stake.
And we had to follow his schedule.
And we've got to follow schedules of everybody, and it just is what it is. So talking about the kind of things we don't have the heart or the time to get into yet, today we are, if not talking directly, it's going to involve the nuclear explosions, the nuclear bombs at Nagasaki and Hiroshima. But not the way you think. No, we're going to hit you with some facts really, really quickly, though, first, just to kind of lay the foundation for the actual story that we're going to be telling today. So August 6th, August 9th of 1945, respectively, the United States of America drops 2 atomic bombs on the Japanese cities of Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
Okay.
Anywhere between 129 to 226,000 people, all civilians, were killed in the explosions, actually instantly. There's no telling what the radiation effects were on an overall populace.
Yeah.
And there is a way to tell, but I'm not going to get into it because it's not really our story. And It is the only use of nuclear weapons in the history of war, thank God. And that's just like, again, it's an instant count. We can't include all of radiation sickness, yada, yada, that accompanies an atomic bomb, as you know. And we'll realistically cover the bombs in the future, I promise. So not today, Bethany.
Okay.
So I'm just telling everybody,
so
I'm not fielding questions about why we did it, how we did it, what geopolitical issues went into what that encompassed.
I don't want to not know. I do want to know. Just give me one thing.
It's not going to be today. But we will do it one day. It's going to be a hell of a body count when we do get to it. And it encompasses another day, another destiny. But it's going to be a hell of a body count when we do. Right. But it also kind of it throws itself into and lends itself to the body count we're doing today. But you've heard this story, dear listeners. You know this story. You know the story, essentially, of the atomic bombs. You know it well. But we want to tell you a different story. We want to give you an almost negative body count today. In other words, we want to tell you the story, uncharacteristically, of one man that didn't die. And here's the kicker. He survived not one, but both atomic blasts. Effing nuts, right?
What the? We're doing a reverse body count.
Yeah. We're gonna take the body count and then we're gonna give you a survivor of both.
Because we understand a fudge muffin load of people died during this explosion. More than we can actually give an account for. The only thing we can
realistically can't
is who survived.
Exactly.
Not very many.
And so that's why we're going to do it. And I think we all need a little bit.
Damn, I don't mean to laugh, but yes.
Yes, right? It's a little realistic.
Yes.
So our story begins today with a gentleman by the name of Tsutomu Yamaguchi.
Wait, say that again.
Tsutomu Yamaguchi.
Damn, that, you know what that sounds like? The name of a fashion store. Were you shopping today at Jessica? Tsutomu Yamaguchi. Hello.
Yeah. And I want all your high fashion clothes. Exactly. So Yamaguchi is zipping across Hiroshima on a public tram with some coworkers, which are all. What was that noise?
Oh, I was just exhaling.
Oh, it was quite loud.
Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. He said he was ziplining. I was like, of course he is. With a bunch of his male people. Sorry, I was frustrated.
Oh, you were frustrated.
The testosterone. Sorry, it just kind of came out. I didn't realize it was going to be that loud. Sorry.
Yamaguchi zipping across Hiroshima in a public tram with co-workers, which are all young engineers working for, at the time, shipbuilders you may recognize the name Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, and they are all in Hiroshima on business on the unluckiest day in all of human history to be in Hiroshima, but we're getting there. So Yamaguchi hears a plane droning in the sky, but he's not really giving it any thought, right? Because, hey, it's wartime.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like a given.
It's a given.
It'd be weird if it didn't. Yeah.
Exactly. It'd be weird if you didn't hear planes. So a plane zipping around, nothing out of the ordinary. What he was not aware of is that this particular plane was a U.S. bomber by the name of the Enola Gay. And she's about to drop the worst surprise in all of human history. A 13...
Don't we all?
Yeah, exactly. A 13 kiloton uranium atomic bomb right on Hiroshima. So the plane approaches the target at, I believe, around 8:15 a.m. on August 6th of 1945, just as our man Yamaguchi steps off the
tram. And his Tamaguchi. I'm sorry.
It's good you're making jokes because it's about to not be funny.
I know.
So
I have a feeling that I don't know what's happening. I'm reading this truly blind. I had no idea what we were talking about today. So, yeah, I know that some bullshit boo shoes is happening.
He hears a plane, thinks it's a friendly plane, does not realize it's the Enola Gay, and she's about to drop this 13 kiloton uranium atomic bomb for the first time in human history on the city that he's in. So, plane approaches the target, 8:15, August 6th. We know all of this. Our man Yamaguchi steps off the tram. All he recalls is glancing up and seeing the bomber pass over where he's at and notices two small parachutes, but not like what they're attached to or anything. That's all he really remembers. And that's all he has time to notice because the shit is about to hit the fan for real. And I apologize. Curse. But if there was ever a reason to use it, this is that moment. Yamaguchi sees a flash in the sky. It is immediately just blown over because the warhead itself detonated just 3 kilometers or roughly 1.8 miles from where he is standing.
Wow.
So he is standing 1.8 miles from the first atomic bomb in all of human history.
That guy's hella messed up. I'm sorry. I'm assuming. Right? I would be. If it was me, okay? I'm just saying, not to be offensive. I hope it wasn't offensive. But I'm just saying, if it was me, I'd be a heck of a messed up person. Like, hey, do you know how close I was to the atomic bomb?
But Bethany, he's going to be this close to 2. We're not even into it yet.
God. Okay, yes. Tell me more. Tell me more, Jeff.
All right. Tell me more. Like, did he have a bomb?
Yeah.
And
yes, did he survive? Did he survive 2 bombs?
Yeah, exactly. So, the Hiroshima bomb was detonated 600 meters or a little less than 2,000 feet, I believe. Forgive me, I'm an American. Like, metric conversions aren't our thing. Blame Jimmy Carter. I don't know. It is what it is. I think that is roughly correct. Yamaguchi looks up from where he's thrown and sees this massive mushroom cloud pillar of fire rolling up into the sky, but he only sees it for a second because he then passes out, which understandable as the
Understandable.
Let me tell you, Bethany, he wishes he was on fucking drugs. It's understandable.
Wouldn't that
because
freak you out, though? I think it would. It would freak me out, but I don't know if I'd pass out.
He's going to get knocked out. This is an atomic bomb.
Oh, sorry.
The blast.
I'm sorry. Sorry. Slowly following. Just slowly. Sorry.
This isn't like funny, like a bomb you hear off in the distant. No, this is the first atomic bomb in history. Real deal. Passing out's going to be the least of your worries. The blast instantly ruptures his eardrums. The flash is so bright, he's temporarily blinded, and the heat of the explosion is so intense, he is instantly covered with serious burns covering the entire left side of his body. So that explains the passing out part.
Well, yes, naturally. It does. It makes sense.
Which, dear God, what a horrific memory that you then have forever.
To deal with. Yeah. Yeah. That sucks. Major.
And realize at this point,
major.
Nobody in history knows what the fuck just happened.
Well, of course not, because they don't have the scientific or the research or the something. They can't look it up, or they can't do it. Yeah.
This is the most secret project of secret projects that there's ever been.
A secret project. Yeah.
The world does not know what this is. So Yamaguchi.
Hold on. It's like, who are you named after? Well, I'm named after my grandma, who was named after her great grandma, and her great great grandma, and then grandma. I think it's great great grandma. Like, it's one of those situations. It starts to become one of those, like, I know it goes way back, but I'm not sure how many greats there are. It goes back. I mean, it's true. It's definitely one of those things where it's like, oh my goodness, here we go. All right,
yeah,
sure.
But this is the first generation of that. So
right. Yeah, beginning of the greats.
Yeah. Yamaguchi regains consciousness, stumbles across his colleagues that were with him that also miraculously survived the first atomic bomb in history, and they all managed to crawl to a shelter trying to figure out what the actual F even just happened.
No joke.
Because, I mean, think about that. There's no such thing as an atomic bomb right now. Mm-hmm. This is beyond imagining of what just happened. And that's what I want everybody to you're going, what in the hell was that? Were we hit by a meteor or an asteroid? What the hell was that? So
my bed shook. What happened?
Your bed shook. Bethany, an entire city was melted. Okay, this
right. That's pleasant.
Yeah,
I'm trying to be a little more outside of the picture here.
But there is no picture for what they're picturing.
Yes.
So these poor dudes huddled together that night in an air raid shelter, trying to nurse their wounds. Next morning rolls around. Oh God, this is rough. And they have to pick their way through the just molten ruins of a city, which I imagine looks like Mordor at this point, because they're passing massive piles of burnt and dying bodies everywhere in the streets. Some points in the city are completely evaporated, as in there is nothing. It is the dust that stood under the dust of foundations of civilization. This is an atomic bomb. So they make it to the nearest still functioning rail station. They catch one of the few working trains back to their home 200 miles away, which is a city called Nagasaki. Oh. Oh, it's at this point in the movie when you're screaming at the screen.
Run away! Run away!
Oh, please, God, no. Because now they're leaving.
Don't go to the attic! Damn it! Stop going to the attic!
They're leaving the first city that's ever been atomically bombed to go home to the next one on the fucking list. Sorry, curse. But oh Jesus, like
talk about oh God.
And it's not gonna get better.
No, of course it never does. So on here at Body Count, it never freaking does.
No, it doesn't. So Yamaguchi was not in great condition, understandably, went to see his doctor at home who bandaged him up as best he could. And remember, they don't know what the F this thing is. Like, there's no standard of how to treat radiation burns and every other horror that will eventually accompany this particular situation. This is the first. I mean, the Americans weren't entirely sure what the hell it was gonna do exactly, but it did. And here's the real kicker. Here's the real kicker, though. And this is why I say we are just a world full of huge poons. Like, no one today could have lasted a second in 1945 because this dude goes back to effing work on and of all days.
Yes.
August 9th. And it's going to become apparent why that's a rough day. So he got hit in a nuclear blast on the 6th, makes it home that night, goes to the doctor, takes like one day off of work, and goes back to work.
Wow.
He just survived an atomic blast, and like a day later is dragging his ass to work. And I'm sorry, there were so many cusses and curses in that, guys.
But it was needed.
It was needed. See, because if I have a cold, I'm at my doctor's office screaming that I'm gonna die. Right?
I have Ebola.
I have Ebola. I am an Ebola case. Please treat me. This guy gets an atomic blast and comes to work a day later. He takes one day off of work. We don't have that in us today. We don't have it in us. I'm sorry. So
today,
really
tomorrow,
quickly,
whatever.
Really quickly, for all those people who are like obsessed with the Tudors and shit, you were born in the exactly right era, as in right now. You wouldn't last 2 seconds in the Tudor age because there's no way that even right now you're going to work like 2 days after surviving the first ever atomic bomb. And that was just in 1945.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you get what I'm saying? All those people
did it because they needed to eat.
I would go back to 1580. No, you wouldn't, because this guy went back to work 2 days after surviving an atomic bomb in the year 1945. And that's in the 20th century. So food for thought, all you ancestry idiots that want to meet your 1500s relatives. Like, be glad we live where we live today. Like, you can't even handle shaking this guy's hand because that's how tough he is. It's unbelievable to me. I don't know about you, but can you imagine surviving a nuclear bomb blast and going to work a day later, like taking one day off work for medical treatment? God almighty. They are tough people. So Yamaguchi.
Tough.
Oh, so tough. So Yamaguchi is back at work telling his boss and coworkers about what happened. Because again, this is 45. It's not on a TV broadcast. There are radio transmissions coming in. They still have no idea what this is because the world has never seen it. The world can't even imagine it. So he's trying to tell them what happened, just like the destruction that this one bomb was able to achieve. And he's telling how this thing melted metal like candles and evaporated entire parts of Hiroshima because, again, and I can't reiterate, nobody knows what this is yet. And Yamaguchi's boss just simply doesn't or can't believe him. It's beyond even this group of wartime engineers, because that's what they're. It's beyond their imagining that such a thing can even exist. So Yamaguchi remarked that his boss barked at him essentially, you're an engineer, calculate it. Are you telling me that one bomb can level an entire city? Like, no. But he was going to
try again. Okay.
Try again, sir, because he's about to learn in the worst possible way, because he's saying this to Yamaguchi just as the clock strikes 11:02 a.m. and the United States Air Force drops their second warhead, nicknamed Fat Man for Winston Churchill, actually. So there's a little callback to another series we're doing. Fun fact on the city of Nagasaki. Fun fact on the city of Nagasaki, where they're all standing and his boss is screaming at him that it's impossible. Now, how is that for a bit of freaking irony right there?
That's rough. I mean, like rough in a good way or a bad way, however you want to perceive it.
But the guy's like,
that's freaking rough.
Literally, the guy's literally calling him a liar. Like, no way one bomb can do this. 11:02.
And then it's like, and the next minute, boom.
Well,
okay, I was wrong.
You're about to be shown, sir, in the worst possible way, how wrong you are. And it is funny, but it's not funny, but it's also a little bit funny.
Right. Yeah, it's funny, but
because that's the petty thing in me. I'd like, when I kind of recovered for a minute, I would be like, "Who's right now, bitch?" Told you so. Told you so.
Told you so. Told you. Told you. Told you so.
Told you so. So boom, blinding white flash stuns the room they're all standing in, and this poor man, I mean, dear God, has already burned skin, like horribly burned skin once, and once again the heat of an atomic blast and explosion hits his body, which is already seared with heat and radiation burns again, and he's slammed to the ground once more. He later stated in his, like that dazed WTF state that you're in that moment when this has just happened, quote, "I thought the mushroom cloud had followed me from Hiroshima." Now,
wow.
Right? Like, you just got out of this.
Talk about some PTSD right there. Like,
right?
Oh my God.
Oh.
That's rough. That's rough.
What's worse, now this particular explosion was actually much larger than the bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima at some 25 kilotons of plutonium this time around, which is fun. They changed it up. Yeah. We'll talk about that later. We'll talk about it later when we cover the actual bombings. And then they managed to drop it just at the perfect height, right in this sort of geographic bowl that Nagasaki sits in, if you will, this like geographic depression. So the destruction, while in itself is more confined, is also a lot more intense. Some 74,000 were killed outright, and a similar number were injured outright. Yeah, hell of a body count.
Wow.
Amazingly, and like, thank God, because this guy at this point, you're thinking, has the worst luck in the world, right? His wife and kids survived the blast as well. So the rest of their week is spent in an air raid shelter near the ruins of their home. 5 days later, Yamaguchi and his family hear the news that Emperor Hirohito announced Japan's surrender. Now, if you think that Yamaguchi's story is miraculous, and let's face it, it's nothing short of like, I don't know, near statistical impossibility, you would think. Here's the kicker. He is one of, in fact, 160 people that are known to have lived through both bombings.
Not one, but two. Bombing. Bachelor number 1. Sorry.
And Bachelor 160. Like, that really is truly amazing. Think about that. 160. Statistically, it should not exist, but 160 people live through
that's crazy.
Both of the bombings. Now,
that's a high percentage. For what I somewhat in my brain understand of atomic bombs, it's not good. Not good for a lot of things. People, buildings, planets.
Let me explain to you.
Environment. Bad.
An atomic bomb, it will literally evaporate things. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
I mean, there's
ashes
nothing.
To ash, dust to dust.
Yeah. Amen, sister. Now, again, he's just lived through both atomic bombs. This guy is messed up, physically and mentally, because like you said earlier, that's got to be most PTSD as it could possibly get.
For real. Yeah.
For the remainder of his life.
Yeah.
He literally saw not one, but 2 cities evaporate before his eyes. I mean, how do you can live with that?
I don't think that you do. I think you survive. Sorry.
I think, I really think you just...
There are no winners. There's only survivors.
Amen, sister. So, Yamaguchi lost his hearing in his left ear completely from Hiroshima. Temporarily lost his hair because, radiation. He had a double dose of that radiation. And again, no one even has an nth of understanding at this point in history about what atomic bombs, war, fallout, radiation, about what any of that even is yet. This is the first. His daughter later recalls he was constantly swathed in bandages until she was like 12 because of the severity of the burns.
So he survived, but he didn't go unscrathed.
Oh God, no! I mean,
he made it, but not made it.
Even if you went
right,
even if you made it, here's the thing: fallout and radiation is going to get you. Cancer is going to get you. There, it is. And we'll talk about it more when we do our fallout episode, but understand, and I'll explain to you like completely what we're talking about with nuclear radiation specifically. But he's swathed in bandages, the burns, because you can bet that burns from not 1, but 2 atomic blasts, they're not going anywhere anytime soon, right? So then there are the long-term effects of exposure to radiation of that magnitude to contend with as well. His wife developed both liver and kidney cancer, for example, in 2008 and died soon after. Then Yamaguchi developed acute leukemia and died in 2010. And get this, against literally all odds, and I mean all the odds that there are at the ripe old age of 93.
Wow.
I mean, there are people that worked on,
what did he die from?
Developing.
Oh, wait, leukemia.
Well,
sorry.
The cancer caused by radiation. That's what radiation, long-term radiation exposure does. Will give you cancer, but a mutation of the cells, assuming you survive the immediate radiation poisoning. And then after that, it mutates genes so that kids are born with birth defects and all kinds of cancers and other things. It's absolutely horrible. But he made it all the way to 93. And he knew how extraordinary it was that he did survive that long, given what he went through, saying, quote, "It was my destiny that I experienced this twice and am still alive to convey what happened." Naturally, right? That's pretty powerful. So naturally, Yamaguchi was a very outspoken opponent of nuclear weapons his entire life. And there was never anyone more qualified to speak to the devastation of nuclear war. He saw it not once, but twice.
And still survived the second time. So
Jesus. I mean, statistically, my God. I just can't even wrap my head around it. And I don't think we need to really correlate this story to anything, because the horror of nuclear war and the fact that we should really, really avoid it at all costs seems to be the one historical lesson that so far has really seemed to stick for humanity.
Just stick the landing. Whatever you do, stick the landing.
We never learn from history, but this is the one thing we did seem to learn.
Thank goodness.
Thank the dear Lord for that, as Mr. Yamaguchi could testify. And that's it. So it's kind of a short one this week. I know some of you hounds out there want us to cover the atomic bombs.
Sorry,
we're going to get to it one day. We're going to get to it. But that's going to have to be a series. And we are currently in the middle of 2 series. And, here's my thing. Country's having a rough month. It's been a rough start to the new year. So while we dipped our toe into the serious body count of the atomic bombs, we wanted to go the opposite way with it this time and have a little bit of a happy, a reverse. In this case, a negative.
I like that. I like that. We had a negative body count. I like that.
And that someone survived.
Not fun. But two. It literally sounds like something on a dating show app, or dating show game.
Does.
Look at here, Bachelor number 1. He is charismatic. He is lovable. He's romantic, and he not only survived 1, but 2 atomic bombs.
Introducing.
Sorry, I forgot his name already.
Mr. Yamaguchi.
Like it's crazy to think like that is something that we didn't value enough either. So
I know, I agree. And so I wanted to have a little bit of a happy ending this one time. To two of the worst tragedies in all of human history. And I feel like everybody maybe kind of needs it right now, you know? Even on this show from time to time. We need it.
Yeah.
So, okay.
We'll keep going, right?
We're done.
Later on. We're done. And Kirsty, thank you and good night. Don't forget to keep watching and keeping notes, because I've been trying but horribly failing. The whole Islamic world part 4. No, sorry.
So
Dr. Warren
is trying to tell you is please don't forget to keep journeying simultaneously with us through Dr. Warren Doctor's book, Churchill and the Islamic World. Part 4 is coming at you soon.
Part 4!
Part 4! After that is finished, we're excited to jump into Nancy Wake with French History Podcast. We have a lot of special guests that are going to be coming at you this year. So please do listen to us wherever you do podcasts. Check out the website at bodycounthistorypod.com. You can follow us on social media at bodycountpod at both Twitter and Instagram. Bethany, where do people find you?
Bethany R.N. as in Nancy Wake. 24. Ooh. Bethany RN 24 at Instagram. And then if you go to Twitter, why did I enunciate that? Okay. Twitter. You can go to Twitter. Sorry, that came out very strangely. That's where we're at. Good. You can find me at Bethany Skelton, not skeleton. It's SKELTON. The number 5, and that's it. Just on Twitter, Bethany Skelton 5 on Twitter.
Super simple. Everybody can find it. I am Jessica B. Manor on both Twitter and Instagram. You can find me. B as in bossy. B as in bitch. Oh shit! Swear. Oh, double swear. Our bad. So it was a short one, guys. It was a simple one. We hope you enjoyed it.
Hope you learned some stuff.
We needed an uplift. We thought you might need one too. Whatever the case.
You can just skip this week. I don't know.
It's a negative body count in that the main character lives. So that's exciting. Yay. We will be back again
next week.
Please keep following our Warren interviews. He's such a hashtag big deal.
Put your heart into it.
That we have to do what we have to do to get him. Yes. So we love you guys. It's been fun. It's been short.
Yes.
We don't mean it to be this short.
Or in a sexual way. Fun or short. Hey. Sorry. And we're out on that note.
Bye.
Bye.